Hello, everyone. It's March 29th, 2017. If you watch my videos, you know how I'm not very good at that part. Why I can't get the date right, I don't know. Don't know. But I've been watching a lot of heavy stuff on YouTube lately. I mean, we're talking like really heavy stuff. I do this a lot, and I'll find a subject that I'm interested in, and then I'll just dig in. And I love hearing the different, writers and talking heads and philosophers and everybody, just everyday people. I love their input, and I'll even watch a video that's like an hour and a half long, and that's not uncommon for me at all. So, but I sit there and just absorb, try to learn it, try to learn something. And sometimes while you're just in the middle of watching all your videos, you see certain things that kind of just make you wonder. And one of them is this debate on whether or not healthcare is a right or not. Now, when you hear the left talk about it, they accurately represent what the rest of the world's doing that's at our level, right? The industrial, and more advanced country. Every single one of them gives universal health coverage, and they have for years. In Great Britain, I remember when they were gonna do it, they were told just like we're told, the whole thing's gonna collapse, the whole thing's gonna be destroyed, it's gonna wipe out the country, and they had at that point, they had the longest stretch of growth and prosperity from after they did it, and all those, all the people saying that the whole thing was just gonna fall apart, they were exactly wrong. And there's reasons why they wanna do this, and there's reasons why they wanna control this, and I think a good portion of this is, they do so many stupid things with our money. They give billions away to, giant corporations, and these subsidies that don't need the money, that are just absolutely flush with money, but they're still giving them billions. I mean, there's so many stupid things they do with the money. You see Trump's budget, he doesn't go after her, the sacred cows, none of them, not a single entitlements, he didn't go after nothing. He just went after poor people, all the people that, that he supposedly said he represented, right? And he kept saying, "I'm gonna make sure everybody gets health coverage and everybody gets it cheap, and you're just gonna be win, 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 win." So, I mean, so he gets at the helm, right? And I know what he's getting, right? And there's a chance that he actually wanted those things, and he was just too stupid to realize that it wasn't within his power. He was under the impression that the president was able to do all these, incredible, like, the president woke up in the morning and put a cape on, right? And, and not instead of a bulletproof vest, which he probably has to put every morning when he puts on, right? Because it's exactly the opposite, I think, of what he expected. But he was even saying that, "Yeah, I wanna give everybody health coverage, I wanna get you cheap prescriptions, I wanna, get this behind us, let's move forward." And then he gets in there and does exactly the opposite and supports that bill that was just so horrific. I mean, it was just so horrific, to replace the Affordable Care Act. I think at this point, we can pretty much stop calling it Obamacare. It's the Affordable Care Act, that's what it's called, let's call it that, let's call it what it really is. And so, because that was always supposed to be some sort of insult when you put Obama's name on it, and, he's out having a wonderful time, and now poor Trump's in a hot seat, wondering, "Where's my cape? When do I get my cape?" But I see this on the right, and I watch a lot of stuff from the right where their argument is that you're not entitled, this isn't in the Constitution, this isn't blah, 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 right? But the thing about it is when they wrote all this stuff, they weren't taking taxes from anybody, the federal government wasn't robbing us blind and taking our taxes. They, how many years of universal health coverage could we have from the money we spent, in the Middle East and the interest we're paying on it now, right? I mean, we can have health coverage for years and years, right? The money's not there except for us. That's what they're saying. They're saying the money's not there except for us. And you have people like, Ron Paul, who is looking back to like some golden age and everything when everybody owned like little businesses and you worked for these small businesses, and he's not at all taking in the fact that the whole country has been taken over by monopolies, right? These monopolies work as part-time, so we don't get any of the health coverage through the Affordable Care Act, right? We have to get it in another way, proving just how poor we are to get it, right? But these employers don't have to touch it. They don't have to be part of it. They don't have to spend a dime on it, right? And so they've taken over the entire country. So, when you look back at these times when people are saying, "Oh yeah, you don't deserve it, you don't get it, this isn't how it was meant to be." None of this is how it was meant to be. When I point my video out saying that, I'm a socialist Democrat, right? Because I'm more of a socialist than a Democrat. Not a fan of the Democrats, I mean a little bit. I don't think they're very socialist on any level. I think that's just a scam. I just think it's just a whole bunch of elites, um, pitting the right and the left people at the bottom against each other, right? Because the people in the 1%, they're just chuckling. They're watching us going at each other, and they're just laughing their asses off all the way to the bank, right? So, and they can afford health coverage, and they're like, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with health coverage." Well, sure, there's nothing wrong with it. You're rich. I live off of, oh my God, I live off of what about, I guess, less than $10,000 a year. So I'm like the lower end of poor, which is normal for trans people. That's pretty normal. But this idea of an America that doesn't exist, and an America that hasn't been taken over by big money, and an America that, isn't, taxing us, dramatically for all kinds of things, and then using the money for things that have nothing to do with you and I. They take our taxes and then use the money for stuff that has nothing to do with you and I, right? This is just, just to line the pockets of their little rich friends, right? Well, if they're gonna take our money, right, and they're gonna let the whole country be taken over by monopolies, then yeah, we do deserve health coverage. We deserve it. It is ours. By right, it's ours. If you're gonna put us in this situation, we're all a bunch of communists, because that's what you've done. You've turned us all into a bunch of communists. We work for a bunch of businesses that actually have their tentacles deep into the government. Not just in, we're not just talking about, when it comes to elections, right? I mean, after someone gets up there, I mean, they're so deep in there, they're pulling the strings, they're deciding what's happening here and what's happening there, and their little puppets are like, yeah, okay, that's what you want, sure, just pour more money into my campaign, don't put any money in somebody going up against me. I promise, I'll do whatever you want. I don't care what the American people need. Right? This is the environment that we're in, and this is why I've become a socialist um, when it comes to school, when it comes to infrastructure, and when it comes to healthcare, and all the other stuff that different socialists come up with. Right? I'm not so much on board with any of that. Those are my three sacred cows right there. That's it right there. And so, but we're paying the money in it, and you're giving the money to people that are already rich and saying, "Oh, it's not in the Constitution, you don't deserve it." So, it's a scam. It's a scam, and yes, you owe us health coverage, you do. If you ever wanna be able to say that with a straight face, get big business out of the government. If you ever wanna say that with a straight face, uh, break up the monopolies, banks and all. If you ever wanna say that with a straight face, stop taxing us, stop the federal income tax. But as long as you have those 3 things going on, yeah, we deserve health coverage. Every other industrialized country, and there's some that are doing much better than America, right? You look at their numbers, all these different numbers, child mortality. I mean, it's just the numbers, everything, school, this, that. You go through all the numbers, and we're like way down there. Having a population that can't get proper, treatment. And then again, you say, "Oh, wow, if you do this right, you have no idea how bad your medicine's gonna be." It's it's been like that for forever for us, You're rich. You're rich, right? Yeah, of course you get great health coverage. But the rest of us, we have crappy health coverage. We have it now. And so to say all of a sudden it's gonna get worse because we have universal health coverage, it already blows. We already have horrible health treatment. We do. It's just awful. You can get cancer and be put on a 9-month waiting list. And so, I mean, and that's the stuff you're saying, "Oh, this is what's gonna happen to you if we do this." It's already there. It's already there. Oh my god. Anyways, yes, you owe it to us. You owe it to us, especially you politicians that say this. You owe it to us because you're a bunch of sellout scumbags that gave our country away to corporations. You're treasonous idiots that just destroyed this country, and we want ours. You've got yours. You're living in your big house. You got your nice car. You know, you're gonna retire on some beach somewhere by robbing us blind, right? You got yours. We want ours. Actually, we want you gone, but that's a different video. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.